We now go to Greg Smith.
Thank you, Ms McKinnell. Like many honourable and right honourable members, I've received a huge volume of correspondence on the stamp duty holiday from estate agents and from potential buyers, first-time buyers and those looking to down or upsize alike. And 418 of my constituents have signed the petition we debate today. Now, from the outset and for total transparency, I should add that owing to the happy news that my wife is expecting our third child, my family, we are looking to move to something a little bit bigger at the moment ourselves. But from the outset, I want to talk about this from a national perspective. And I absolutely welcomed the Chancellor's stamp duty holiday and believe it has proven successful in attracting both buyers and sellers to the property market at what is, as I'm sure we will all agree, an incredibly difficult time for our economy. However, the property market is now facing a cliff edge with the holiday ending on the 31st of March. And this will have a devastating impact on the residential property market, with it likely to stall at a time when it really should be at its busiest. Now, in my constituency, some modelling has been done by the property research firm 20CI, and they found that 231 families that agreed a sale in December last year will miss out on the stamp duty saving, with this number continuing to grow through the first few months of 2021. If these movers do fully pull out of transactions, this will result in nearly £9 million being lost in spending in the home moving market on services such as conveyancers, estate agents' fees, despite significant work having already taken place. And nearly £1 million will be lost, and this is just for the Buckingham constituency alone, nearly £1 million lost in the wider home mover spending in the economy on decorators, furnishings, renovations, other high street and retail businesses. Nationally, there's the worst case scenario that due to the high volumes and capacity challenges, 200,000 movers are likely to miss the stamp duty deadline. And already estate agents in my constituency, like Russell and Butler, are informing me sales are falling through in expectation of the deadline. So the holiday has created a degree of urgency in the market, with many home buyers and sellers struggling to get their deals across the line before the end of March. Local authority searches are taking longer than usual, as are mortgage approvals, leading to weeks in delays. And those at the greatest risk of pulling out are hardworking families on low and middle incomes that simply can't afford an extra bill in the thousands of pounds. So extending the stamp duty holiday will protect businesses in the wider economy that are reliant on home mover spending, but also ensure that that dream of home ownership can come true for so many others. Now, I appreciate that with the huge scale borrowing that has been rightly required to fund the COVID support schemes, the government needs to generate revenues now more than ever. But the property market and the wider economy does remain fragile. And I appreciate there'll be those who argue that there's not the fiscal headroom, but it's always been my view that the best way to raise revenue is to stimulate the economy through tax cuts, not shut down opportunities through tax rises. And nowhere is this more apparent than with the stamp duty land tax, a tax that at its very core is a tax on aspiration, a tax on the dream of home ownership, and a tax that disincentivizes movement in the property market, pinning millions already on the ladder into homes that aren't necessarily right for them today. So my first argument would be a serious overhaul of this tax. A 2019 paper by the Centre for Policy Studies argued that taking an average of various economic studies, each 1% fall in stamp duty would increase housing transactions by approximately 20%, and abolishing it altogether would increase transactions by a quarter. Considerable benefits for our wider economy, as well as the Treasury. But in the short term, too many people are already along the path to moving and are being caught out. It's essential the government steps in to make this holiday count for those movers already engaged in transactions, but for whom delays may push them past the 31st of March. So let's keep the housing market and the thousands of businesses and jobs that depend on it moving, and support all our constituents wanting to move to be able to do so without hindrance.